Hey everyone, it's Courtney. Today we're going to be going over my 36, 37, 38, and 39 bump update. So essentially the last month of pregnancy. And this is going to be my last bump update. So I just wanted to say real quick, thank you to everyone who's been along on this journey from the beginning. I truly appreciate it. And I do plan on doing a birth vlog, so stay tuned for that next, as well as just take you along on my postpartum journey as well. So let's go ahead and get into it. So the first thing I like to usually go over is cravings. This last month, I have had a really hard time having a strong appetite. This is normal. Your belly's getting bigger, so it just fills up a lot faster than, you know, when you don't have a baby in there. So I think that's the main reason why I just get full really quick and I just haven't had much of an appetite. But one thing I did notice that I had been craving and didn't realize I was craving it was pink lemonade and Sprite. Whenever we go to Sam's Club to get diapers and wipes, we always get like a hot dog or something from like their little deli, and it always comes with a drink. And I decided to just like make a little concoction of pink lemonade and Sprite, and it was amazing and it was super delicious. And I honestly haven't had it since then, but I'm still craving it, and I'm like determined to have one like very, very soon, even after this baby comes out. And something kind of funny that I did the other day is, in Texas right now, blood oranges are in season, and my mom brain or pregnancy brain, one of the two, thought that they were grapefruit. So I bought this whole bag of blood oranges thinking they were grapefruit. Little did I know that they were not, but they ended up actually being a huge hit for my toddler, and I really enjoyed them as well. So I just thought that was kind of funny, and just kind of worked out. We're also in the middle of transitioning our daughter to more dairy-free and gluten-free. I personally like to eat dairy-free and gluten-free as much as I possibly can due to my allergies. She was having some bowel movement issues the last couple months, and the pediatrician had recommended cutting out dairy and just kind of limiting gluten as well. And so we've been trying to like transition, you know, all of us eating that way just to make it easier when we're cooking meals and just having snacks on hand. So if you have any like favorite dairy-free or gluten-free like snacks, especially toddler approved, or like recipes, drop those down below. I would love to know, and I'd love to check those out. Another big craving, I guess, would be I'm always thirsty. I feel like I'm constantly drinking water, and I know a lot of pregnant people crave ice and they're like eating ice all the time. I personally am not that pregnant person, but I do love like ice cold water. And I think I've mentioned this in a previous bump video that when we were traveling for a year and living in an RV, we did not have an ice machine or like access to ice or anything like that. So I've taken full advantage of having access to ice in the house. So I just fill up my hydro flask. I think it's the 40-ounce one. And I feel like I'm going through like 8 to 10 of those a day, as well as like nighttime. I feel like I'm just drinking an entire one throughout the night. And yeah, so I'm just very, very thirsty all the time. Another craving that I can't stop thinking about is what I'm going to have after I deliver, especially if you're like a second-time mom, or like you've already done this, you know, like you're gonna be starving after you have a baby. I feel like I've just been going through my mind trying to figure out what I actually want to get, and I think I've decided as of right now I'm like craving like a bacon cheeseburger like from Five Guys. Just sounds so amazing. I know there's like a Chipotle and like a Chick-fil-A right across the street from our hospital, so I'm hoping my husband can sneak out and like go get something for us. But I know the hospital supplies food as well. But I've just been thinking, a lot about what that post-delivery meal is going to look like. Let me know down below if you've had a baby or you're about to have a baby, what you have had after delivery. Did you like bring something special with you? Did you get takeout afterwards, or did you not really care? Comment that down below. I'm also bringing like a king-size Snickers because that just sounds like the best guilty pleasure after having just given birth. So I have options. Along with that, I don't know if this is like everywhere. After giving birth the first time, they brought me this postpartum drink is what they called it. And it was like this yummy tropical like fruit yumminess explosion in your mouth. And It was so good. I don't know what was in it. I wish I would have asked, and I am not delivering in that hospital. That's in Washington, and I'm in Texas, but I am hoping and praying that they have something like that this time around, because I just have not stopped thinking about that either. Moving on to symptoms, I feel like the biggest one has been heartburn. I again have mentioned this in previous videos, especially more recently, but with my daughter, she was very hairy when she was born, and I guarantee that's probably why I had heartburn with her. But this time around, it's been like a million times worse, especially if I eat like peanut butter or cucumbers. I know those are like two random things, but those are like really, really bad, like heartburn. And mainly just anything that I eat like after 7 p.m. I'm just like miserable and like not feeling very well when I go to bed because of it. So yeah, heartburn is definitely 24/7. And I'm still having like those groin like nerve pain, like sharp little nerve pains when I'm walking. I'll just randomly get them. Now that I'm 39 weeks, I get them very, very frequently, and they're sharp and very long because she's sitting so low. She has dropped so low that it's just a lot of pressure all the time. So I'm really curious to see how labor is gonna go and delivery, with that being like a symptom I didn't really experience in my first pregnancy. So fingers crossed it's not like an unbearable thing on top of the contractions. And I think a lot of people that are in their 3rd trimester or about to give birth can relate to this one, is being tired 24/7, but then when you go to bed you have like straight up insomnia. I feel like especially these last 2 weeks I have not slept more than maybe like an hour at a time for like a accumulation of maybe 4 hours a night. Luckily I know like what to expect with a newborn, and that I'm not going to be getting a lot of consistent sleep anyways, so it's kind of your body like preparing you, but I definitely am not like a napper, so I am curious to see how I do with a toddler and a newborn this time around, since I didn't really nap much with my first after she was born. So I'm just all around just curious how the sleeping is going to go when she gets here. Another symptom I noticed is really dry skin. So first off, I know it's winter time and I'm in Texas where it's pretty humid and pretty hot year round. So I'm assuming it might be a pregnancy thing, specifically like my elbows and like around my nose, and my hands are just like super dry all the time. And I'm one of those people that like lathers myself in lotion if I for like a second think I'm like any bit like dry. So I feel like that's just kind of been a new thing going on, and it could be because it's winter, regardless of being in Texas, or it could just be, you know, a pregnancy thing going on because my skin's like stretching and changing. I don't know, but I've noticed that as well. I did actually end up getting a few stretch marks on my side finally. I didn't get any stretch marks with my daughter except for after I delivered, which was kind of weird that, you know, I had her, like I had the whole pregnancy without any stretch marks, delivered, and then after I delivered I got some on the side. But this time around I did get some prior to delivering. And the most common symptom and the most annoying symptom has been Braxton Hicks, and just a lot of heaviness and just a lot of fluid coming out. So I know that's like really, really TMI, but just everything just feels like gravity down there, my belly, all of it. And the Braxton Hicks, having a hot flash. And I mentioned this in a previous video that I didn't really have Braxton Hicks in my first pregnancy, and if that was because I just didn't really know what they felt like. But now this time around I understand what contractions are and all of that. So that could be one of the reasons why I'm just noticing it maybe more this time around. So let's just go ahead and move on to life updates. So when I was 37 weeks pregnant, I went into my OB and I was having very, very consistent contractions, like probably between 2 to 5 minutes, very consistently, but they wouldn't last more than maybe an hour or two. And at that point when they had checked me, I was already 2 centimeters and 50% effaced, which, I mean, you can be that way for weeks and that's completely normal. But throughout that weekend, they just got consistently stronger and more intense. So I had family that is planning on watching our daughter when we are having the baby come down, and they stayed through the weekend, almost a whole week, just to make sure that, you know, if I did go into labor early, that they were here. And I mean, I had several times that I thought I was in active labor, and I did end up going into our hospital labor and delivery around 38 weeks. And they had monitored me for a couple hours, and they said my contractions were consistent. They were there. You know, that was spot on with timing and everything, but I was not dilating. So they ended up sending me home, and I just decided, you know what, like, she's gonna come when she's ready to come, and hopefully these contractions chill out. And that following week, you know, it was 38 weeks at that point, and that weekend, my parents went back up to Oklahoma, and they had some stuff to do up there, and I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna take it easy and relax. And my contractions did subside quite a bit. They were still happening very often, just not as consistently. And at this point, when I was at my doctor's appointment, at this point I had gotten checked, and I was 3 centimeters. And so that's what I was when I went into labor with my daughter. You know, I started at 3 centimeters, and then an hour later I was at 4, and then my water broke, and it just, you know, went from there. So I was really thinking that this was it, like, I'm gonna have her, and it just didn't happen. So fast forward to 39 weeks. So I am 39 weeks tomorrow, and I'm getting induced tomorrow. So for a while there, I was going back and forth on if I was going to be induced or not, because some of the reasons why I was getting induced weren't factors anymore. And so I was just thinking long and hard, like, okay, is this something, you know, that I want to do? And just after this week that I've had, it's just been to the point where I get contractions and nerve pain to where I can't physically walk. And you know, it's just getting to the point where it was just debilitating to me and to my health. And she's measuring perfectly. She's head down. I had an appointment today, and everything looks good. And so she's definitely dropped. And yeah, I feel really good about, you know, getting induced. This will be my first time experiencing something like that. So again, I'm going to be doing a birth vlog. So make sure that you are subscribed and your notifications are on, because we will have that up as soon as possible after we have her. And my plan was to do a hospital bag video, like what I'm bringing in my hospital bag. And to be honest with you, I am like not bringing anything. So I figured I would just, you know, go to the hospital, give birth, experience all of that, and then do a video of like what I actually used and like what would actually be useful for you guys. I know a lot of people will, you know, pack all of this stuff and then they'll end up, you know, not using half of it. So I just kind of wanted to jump on the train of, you know what, I'm just gonna go, I'm gonna experience it, and then I'll let you guys know what I ended up using, because I feel like that will be the most helpful. If you are a new mom or you are about to be a new mom, I feel like that'll be a lot more helpful than just showing you a bunch of stuff I may or may not use. But I will say that make sure that you plan food to grab when you go into labor. So what I mean by that, whether you're getting induced or if you are just like waiting for your baby to come naturally, make sure you have like a meal, like a quick grab meal that you can take on your way to the hospital. So for me, when I had my daughter, I had these breakfast sandwiches that were loaded with like lots of protein, and just they were really, really hefty breakfast sandwiches that I had made ahead of time. I put them in the freezer, and then I knew once we, you know, went into labor, I would just pop them in the microwave, and it was something that was quick and easy that we could eat out the door. And that way we didn't have to, you know, worry about if I was gonna be starving or, you know, whatever it may be. I had something in my stomach as well as my husband. So that's just my little tip and advice ahead of time that I would just highly recommend having something prepared and ready to take with you, so you don't have to worry about if you're gonna be hungry or not prior to giving birth. And lastly, I have been just trying to enjoy like the moments with just my toddler. I know that that's ending tomorrow, and it's just not gonna be, you know, just the two of us all day. And luckily my husband is getting, you know, a very long time off of work to be home with us for the transition. And yeah, I'm super excited for, you know, this next chapter and having 2 under 2, and I'm just gonna embrace it and hopefully be able to share, you know, that journey with you guys as well. So like I said, this is gonna be my last bump update, and thank you again for everyone who's stuck it out from the beginning. I am just so thankful for this community that I've built over the last 9 months, and yeah, without further ado, let's do one last bump shot. I don't know if you can tell, but she has definitely dropped compared to where she was probably about like 4 to 5 days ago. So, and one last thing, if there's any videos that you want me to cover that I didn't through this pregnancy, or you want me to cover going into, you know, postpartum and newborn and all of that and 2 under 2, comment those down below. I would love to just film what you guys are interested in and what you guys want to see from me. Yeah, next time I see you guys, I will have a baby in my arms. I'm super excited. So thank you again for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.